Hello everyone, welcome back to a new devlog for Summit of Elements, the cozy farming game where you use your elemental abilities to farm, fight and explore the world. Today I'll be showing you how I implemented the farm animals feature. So a while ago I posted this short where we were able to place down some farm buildings, so today I think it's time that we add the farm animals. They're going to work very similar to the recent pets that we added. You'll be able to interact with them and then do some bonding like in any other farming game. And of course these animals will be able to give you some produce at the beginning of a new day. And then the higher heart level that you have with the animal, the better items you're going to get. I have some other cool ideas for little features, but I'll get into those later. So first up this morning, I think I'm just gonna get started with creating the animal base. Alright, so just to get started today, I made this little placeholder for the animals. If I just type this handy spawn farm animal command, I should be able to see it in the scene here. Currently it does just look a little bit stupid and it just roams around, but we'll fix that later. Alright, so next up, I've just been thinking about how I want to design the farm animals' behavior, and I think it won't be that complicated. They'll just roam around on the farm until they either drink, get pet or interacted with, then produce in some cases like pigs, and then finally they'll go to sleep. But there are a couple of edge cases though, like what if there's no valid place to go, or what if all of the drinking spots are full. Speaking about drinking spots, those are actually just some troughs that you can place down on your farm. So that's the basic animal behavior written down and basically defined. It's pretty simple, but it does a job. Next up, I'll be looking at actually getting a good sprite animation in. I want the animations to feel alive, and that's currently just not the case. So let me get started. Alright, here we go. We finally have a first good looking animal. I'd say don't get too attached though, because I might revisit them later, but for now they definitely work. I want them to move around semi-realistically while still fitting the cozy pixel art vibe, which has been a bit of a struggle for me, but overall I'm pretty happy with them. In terms of the interacting and sleeping, I also have some animations for those set up. Obviously, currently nothing actually goes on in the backend, so I'll be fixing that soon. But first, I'll be doing a bit of work on the water trough. I want them to be able to get filled by water bending, so I'm gonna get started on that now. Here we go, after a bit of work we can now craft a trough with 15 stone. If we place it down we can see that it's empty, and if we use a water ball ability on it, we can see it fill up. I've had a lot of trouble trying to make the water ball look like it's going inside of the trough, and after a while I decided to just make it pop above the trough. It's not perfect, but it looks good enough for now. Another cute thing that I've added is that when it rains it will actually fill up, so I think I'll leave it here for now. I'll definitely try to improve it with some animations and some polishing, but for now I'm pretty happy with it. So tomorrow I'll be moving on to the next stage. Alrighty, it's a new day, bright and early, and today I'll be working on making these animals feel like they're actually a part of the farm and kind of making them feel more alive. It might be a bit difficult because I want the animals to actually drink whenever they're thirsty, and if they had access to water the day before, it will boost their happiness whenever they're pet, so it's a little reward system. But we currently don't really have any thirst system set up yet, so I'll be starting from zero for that one. Alright, so what I'm trying to do now is to get the chicken roaming around and then randomly go to a trough to drink. For that to work, we'll need to find all reachable drinking spots, so I set up a little helper to help me visualize this. If I place down some drinking spots here and I block one of them, and then I press my test key, I can see that the available drinking spots get highlighted. If I then open up the chicken pen and I press the test key again, we'll see that both of the troughs actually highlight the drinking spots. So now that we know that that's working well, I can focus on making the chickens actually drink. Here we go, after working for quite a while, the chicken can now finally quench their thirst. For example, this chicken is going to a drinking spot right now. Once they actually reach that spot, they will take a sip. Now there are some edge cases that I had to think about, like what if the player blocks a chicken before they get to their drinking spot? They'll just go back into the roaming mode that they are normally in, and then try again at a later time. Each of these troughs have 2 different drinking spots, and when a chicken decides to go for one of them, they kind of reserve that spot until they are done, or until they exit the drinking state so that no other chicken or no other farm animal can go to that same spot. Aside from that, a little smaller feature is that now when you interact with the chicken, it actually does something. The heart level goes up, and if the chicken had its water the day before, you will gain more heart levels when you pet it. I've been doing a bunch of code refactoring while making these systems, trying to keep the reusability as high as possible. I created a little animal base class which basically handles the behavior of every animal, as they are kind of the same. And then I use sprite library assets in Unity to just swap out the sprites for the animations. I've been doing this in a bunch of places like the pets or the NPCs, and it just allows me to add new variants without too much effort. For example, I just added this cow, and all I really had to do was create a new scriptable object item. A big part of making these animals feel alive is to have a good day-night cycle. I wanted the animals to wake up, go outside, and then just kind of roam around wherever they are actually able to roam around. When it gets to like 8 PM, I wanted the animals to go back inside to their coop and then go to sleep. It took me quite a while to get this implemented, just because I was running into a bunch of farm animal loading issues when switching scenes and stuff like that. But at last, we did actually get it fully working, and I'm really happy with it. Now that the farm animals feel alive, I think it's time to make them actually useful and make them produce some items. So I'll be starting on that tomorrow. Before we dive into the produce, I just wanted to say that I really put a bunch of time and effort into this video, and if you're enjoying it so far, please consider subscribing and liking. Most people that regularly watch my videos aren't actually subbed, so if you're not sure, just check real quick. Good morning everyone, I'm ready to finally dive into the final part of this animal feature, which is the produce. Each animal will have a small produce loot table, which will be determined by their bond or happiness with the player, so I'm just gonna get started on that first. There's actually quite a few things to think about with this feature. For example, I might want the chicken to either lay a small, medium or large egg depending on the happiness. This part is fairly straightforward, but there should also be a small transitioning period. For example, at 2.5 hearts, the chicken should be able to lay both small and medium eggs. So I need to improve the loot table that I just made to support that. I now added the produce for the farm animals, and as you can see, if I just set the bonding level to 2, when I advance a couple of game days and wait for them to grow up so they can actually produce, the chickens have laid some eggs, which is what we expected. And as you can see, some of the chickens produce some small eggs, while the other produce some medium eggs. So that's working beautifully. Now you might be wondering where drinking comes into all of this, and I explained it a little bit, but I just want to go into my reasoning. I didn't want to make it too punishing whenever you didn't have any troughs or any drinking spots. So now it's when the animal has had its water the previous day and you pet it, the bond you will get from that pet has actually had a boost of 25%. That way you don't need to do it if you don't want to, but it does reward you for doing it. Currently the produce just spawns as an item in the world, which does work, but I think it would be really cool if we make it work like a forageable item where you click to collect it. That way it feels more present in the world and in the scene, so that's what I'm gonna be working on for now. Alright, that was actually a pretty quick fix. The produce now works the exact same as a forageable item, where if you click on an egg or whatever produce is on the ground, it gets added to your inventory. finish off the farm animals feature, I've been working on a small little auto gatherer that you can put in a coop or a barn. To start off, I just made it a recolored chest or a special kind of chest. The sprite will change later, but for now it's definitely clear enough. Next up, I'm gonna be working on making the produce actually go inside of the chest, so let me get started. There we go, after a little while the produce now goes straight into the chest. So every time the chickens lay eggs or any farm animal produces something, we can see the chest getting fuller and fuller and fuller, which is exactly what we want. So that's gonna do it for this video and for the farm animal feature. A quick side note, whenever I add the rancher, you'll actually be able to sell the farm animals. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Also, there is a Discord up for which I have a link in the description, so if you want to join it, go ahead. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.